Hi, this is JImi Tenor, and welcome to my exhibition Wormholes and Photophones. And I'm gonna make a tour of this exhibition going clockwise, starting from the left. So we start next from the table where there are the books and albums and all the merchandise. So the first framed picture on the right, it's one of those pictures I've made with using spruce tree twigs or branches, which have been eaten by this. I guess it's called bookworm or something. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a worm that eats this kind of nice shapes into spruce tree bark. Yeah. So I collected these branches in the forest, and I made these kind of sticks. You can see them in next to the prints in the exhibition. I tried to put the right tool next to the print that I used in actual making of that print. And yeah, it was kind of hard to make them this because the twigs are not, or the branches are not exactly straight. So I had to use very soft surface under the Japanese paper I used, and I used the wood print ink, very oily ink, so it stains quite well. And underneath that first picture, there's one of my early PR contact sheets, which were made using a Zeiss Econ camera, 6x9 centimeter negative. Those were made in 1996. Okay, then we move right. There's a first vitrine, and on top of that, there's another wormhole picture, and the tool that I used making it. The tool has some other colors on it because I used it on other pictures later on. But anyway, there it is. And in the vitrine, there's a flute in a box and another wooden flute next to it. I've made these flutes out of apple tree. This tree was planted when I was born by my parents, and then some point in the 2000s I cut the tree because it was blocking the view from the window, and also I wanted to get the apple tree material to make these flutes. I went 5 years to this flute, like woodworking course in Lahti, and then behind those wooden flutes there's a white plastic flute which is made out of a sewer pipe. I went to New York to make a recording session. I forgot my flutes. I was supposed to bring my DIY flutes, but I forgot them. So I went to the hardware store and I bought a couple of sewage pipes, and I made the flute for the sessions. It worked out really well. And the album is called Soft Focus by Larry Seven and me and Mia Theodoratus. Anyway, this after that flute, there's a clear acrylic flute, and the acrylic ones are hard to make, but they look really cool. And in the acrylic one, you can see the nodes. When you blow inside, you see all the humidity, like moving in a certain way. Underneath that, there's a JImi Tenor book called Omniverse. I wanted it to be a strictly photo book, but it turned out to be like a photo book with stories about my music, more like stories about backstages, but whatever the stuff in my music life. And next to it, there's a PR shot, which was actually used in Intervision album cover in 1997, where I write some scores. And I got tired because people thought I was some kind of amateur musician, so I wanted to make sure that on the album cover there's a picture of me writing scores, And then next to it, a color photo without frame, was taken by Oka in 1994 to promote my first album, Sähkömies, and it turned out really good. I was did some internship in a photo school in New York, and I got some lab time if I worked there, like some extra hours. So I printed these Cibachrome pictures at the lab at the photo school. And underneath there's a photophone, this piece of film attached to like a normal tabletop fan, but the film, it has been made in a certain way that we've exposed like sound waves, or holes and not holes, and which creates a chromatic scale when the fan is spinning. And when we put like light through to the fan, I can collect the sound waves using an optical sensor. I have a special golden ring which I use to collect the sound waves from the air. You play this instrument a little bit like a theremin, but it works in a completely different way. And next to the photophone, there are 3 pictures. They are this certain Polaroid film that was quite popular at some point. You could get a positive and a negative at the same time, which was really cool. And we did these pictures. We were thinking maybe the cover of Intervision, but it turned out it was the inner sleeve of Intervision album. And these are actually the originals from the collage that was used on the album. Okay, let's move a little bit to the right. You can see the underneath each picture, you can see the tools that I've been using in these monotypes. Each of this print, it looks like a graphics print, but it's a monotype because I can only make one of they are all very unique. And the one on the lower level, which has this kind of like a seal, red seal on the right lower corner, I made that by squeezing the Japanese paper around that stick many times, and I think turned out really cool. It looks a bit more like dark, almost like kind of black metal type thing, and it looks like some kind of alien inscriptions or something. I left the paper on purpose a little bit crumpled because so then you can see the technique a little bit. All right, in the next glass vitrine, there's some black and white photos on top, which we did in Bar Ciutadella in Barcelona. We ran out of photo film when we were doing the PR shoots, and so instead of using the color film, we used black and white film, but did every photo 3 times. I had to stand really still, and the camera was on the stand, and then we took 3 same photos, but with a red and a green and blue filter, and then later on I combined them in Photoshop, put them in the different channels. Then we got like kind of color image, like a primitive early color photography. Really, really cool technique. And these are the original black and white pictures for that. They were used in an album Organism. And below that there's Aulos record cover. The original painting is called the playing of Väinämöinen, the main guy in the Finnish saga called Kalevala. And it's a famous painting which is now in Helsinki University corridor. But I sent the original to this painter in Ghana called Babs, and he repainted the image, and he put me on sitting on the stone instead of Väinämöinen. I think it came out quite funny. And below that there's my new album July Blue Skies. This is the back sleeve, and the picture is taken by Tytti Viljanen. This was taken during the COVID times, and we were driving around Helsinki, and we went to Porvoo, next to this oil refinery, and there's a swamp with there's a lot of dead birch trees, and it looked really cool, so we took a couple of photos. And underneath that there's a cover of Itetun, which is a special album by Abdis, Asafa and me. All the instruments that we use on the album were made by us, and of course all the songs too. And then on top of that, the vinyl has been engraved 150 times. We made 150 copies, but it's not pressed like a regular album. This is every album was engraved separately and cut, separated with this like a home cutting device by Roope Seppälä. And then Roope also made the covers himself by Silkscreen, and I made the camera for the photo shoot. It's a pinhole camera, and I also made the logo Itetune by using ballpoint pen. And so it's very DIY project indeed. And next is like my main works for this exhibition. They're called Wormholes, and they are actually wormholes. They you can see the tools under each frame, and these might actually not be the real ones, but because the real ones is even a little bit thinner. But anyway, I made this. I used pencil and a piece of yarn. I made these circles, and then I followed the circles with these different colors using this wormhole tool. It was really difficult to make these. It took me forever, and this wood print ink is stains like really easily, and it's very oily and greasy. So it was tough to make this. I wanted to make them look a little bit like some kind of esoteric Waldorf school type of fun thing, some kind of circle of life or something with alien script. Okay, then we move to the right. There's two photos, huge photos. I went around motorways, and I took pictures of flattened animals, because they look like ready-made abstract paintings. And these two pictures actually just two examples of a big series. I have maybe 25 in the original exhibition from them about 10 years ago. And I think they turned out good. I used this huge camera from the 1900s to make these pictures. Because these are on the motorways, it was dangerous to go there, and sometimes I had an assistant to warn me when the cars are coming, and I had to focus it in advance and just quickly drop the tripod with the camera on top of the animal and then take the shot and then run away. Okay, then if you turn a little bit more right to the center of the room, there's this pinball machine instrument. It works a little bit like a modular electromechanic synthesizer, and there's a switch on the next to the cables, red switch. You can press that and start playing it with there's nine keys in the pinball area. You can try to press them, and then you hear all the sound, sirens and different electric motors that will start making noises. And in the third glass vitrine there in the background, there's a album Order of Nothingness. I took it with old Mamia in this swamp called Kuusijärvi near Helsinki. I think it turned out good. And then there's some CDs on the second level. There's Sähkömies, my first album cover, and then there's a CD of Veijo Rönkkönen Statue Park in the eastern Finland. It's always worth visiting there near Imatra. And then there's a picture of Terra Exotica, which I did with this 19th century camera. It's a self-portrait with my cat. And then the fourth one is my pseudonym Imposter Orchestra. I took that photo with Tommy Grönlund, and we wanted to make a image that would be like a satellite image, as if they found like an alien civilization and sent pixel by pixel this like really low quality image. First we took the picture, we scanned it, and then we reduced the quality over and over again until we get this really like pixely photo. And underneath there's a album cover of Nicole Willis. I wanted to make a photo that looks like those pictures of Curtis when he took photos of Native Americans back in the day, and I wanted to make it look like orthochromatic photograph. So I took it's actually a digital shot, but I used only the blue channel of the digital image, and turned out really good. And if you turn around, there's one picture of this guy Adam on the wooden pole. This is from a series called Z Factor. I made this in 1993, 1994 in New York. I had some ads in Village Voice. I was looking for special looking people, and then I also took photos of my friends, but I used the comic book strips to get ideas for the backgrounds and for the poses. And next picture on the right is a huge silkscreen image of my friend Hisao. This was the silkscreen was made in Bergen at a place called Tryckeri. At the Tryckeri I made a special concert with the Gutenberg printing press. I hooked my sensors and my modular synthesizer to the Gutenberg, and sort of like the Gutenberg played my modulars, and I tweaked the knobs. It was fun. And next wall there's 3 images, 2 close-ups of this my model Otter. She was a great model, and she was in a car accident and she lost her front teeth, so she got herself a permanent set of vampire teeth. And see, there's a contact sheet where all the different poses, and it was a lot of fun. And the big wall there with a lot of black and white photos. These are original prints from the 90s, and There's a dwarf guy, Bobby, with 4 hands, and the extra hands are my girlfriend Tina's hands, and she was wearing a black bag or something, so she only the hands can be seen. And I made friends with some local wrestlers, and I took pictures of them. These are all part of the Z Factor series. Okay, then we move to the right. There are some clothes. There's a couple of pants. They are my fashion brand Tenorwear that I had for a while. In the picture you can see the yellow Tenorwear pants that I ordered from my friends, and the idea was that with the zips you can make the pants baggy or straight or flare. And I was dancing in a club in London. Plenty of people asked, "Hey, those pants are really cool, so where can I get them?" And then I thought, well, maybe I start a small fashion brand, and I think a couple of hundred of these were made, and then I made some shirts, t-shirts, and the one on the wall with the pentagram is made by Vilonki and Kaukolampi. I asked them to make anagrams of tenor, like over and over, different kind of anagrams into the pentagrams. It's kind of fun. And more in the center of the room, there's this wooden box with 5 reeds in it, and that's a bass kalimba. And apparently this is the instruments they use in the palm wine bar in Ghana or something. I guess there are other instruments too, but this is the bass instrument. I put 5 strings. In the original one there's only 3, but I put 5 reeds. Then if you look at the carpet there are 3 instruments. There's a first one with the 6 rocks. It's called lithophone, which means stone phone. And then by selecting the right kind of woods and putting them on this kind of lattice of birch trees, you can make it like quite nice stone marimba. And next to that is a logophone, which is a kind of, it could be the original Finnish percussion instrument if there was one, but if there was one, this would be it, the logophone, because the sound of making logs is the most Finnish sound. And on the next one is this 5 piece like tube instrument made out of aluminum tubes, and it's a really cool one. They're kind of floating in the air on those strings and make a wonderful sound. I figured out, like, if I saw them a little bit in the middle, you can make the pitch go down way, and then you get more interesting overtones, or like ringtones with the slits. And then you see the record turntable on that stand. On top of the stand there's a cool looking spiky vinyl record. The spikes are nuts made of iron, and then on top of that there's a controller that collects the magnetic flow sort of underneath the magnetic pickups in the controller. And this is like a personal keyboard for the DJs. It makes a heavy bass sound. And if you look up, there's a vacuum cleaner trombone called Vera. This was also made by Matti Knapi and me. And instead of lips, the sound is made by the blue rubber glove. You can see, and you can actually, you see it's connected to power, so you can actually turn it on and try to squeeze if you're tall enough, try to squeeze the rubber glove to make crazy noises. Okay. And on the on the big wall, there's like a six-handed worker, god or something. And by flickering red, blue, and green lights, you can make this kind of primitive animation out of this. We used this 1989 as a band backdrop. And in the corridor, there's some pictures. There's 2 pictures I took with this 19th century camera, and this picture of Toimi Tytti as a German spy, and also portrait of Tony Allen when he was having dinner at my house. All right. Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye-bye.